देख रहे हैं सुदर्शन न्यूज।
14 NLA प्रधान सत्र का तीसरी दिन सुबह 9:30 बजे शुरू हुआ और 4:15 बजे तक चले। असेंबली के शुरुआत ऑनरेबल स्पीकर NLA ने एक पूर्व सदस्य लेट श्री YM योलो कोन्याट के निधन का ओबिचुरी दिए, जो कल 22 मार्च 2023 को एक्सपायर हो गया। इसके बाद विधानसभा के तीसरे दिन के सत्र पर असेंट बिल ऑन नागालैंड ग्राउंड वाटर बिल 2020 और नागालैंड फिस्कल रेस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी एंड बजट मैनेजमेंट फिट अमेंडमेंट बिल 2022। ऑनरेबल CN श्री नेफ्यू और उनके साथी कैबिनेट मंत्रियों द्वारा वार्षिक प्रशासनिक रिपोर्ट सभा पटल पर रखा। साथ ही माननीय मुख्यमंत्री श्री नेफ्यू द्वारा रिपोर्ट नियमन को रखा और सरकारी विधेयकों को पेश किया है। और फिर अंत में राज्यपाल की अभिभाषण के धन्यवाद प्रस्ताव पर चर्चा, जो 21 मार्च 2023 को सदन के सामने रखा गया है। शेष समय सदन में विभिन्न दलों के सदस्यों द्वारा डिलिबरेटली चर्चा किए गए। मैं थजो तलना क्रॉस सुदर्शन न्यूज चैनल के लिए कोहिमा, नागालैंड से।
Judiciously, so that visible development can take place in the state. Now, my area of concern, Mr. Speaker, sir, is government serious enough to bring some strong policies? Because last assembly also, I have highlighted about illegal immigrants, ILP issue, REAN issue. These are some serious policies that the government needs to focus on. Last assembly, as I stated, I have cautioned the government of the day that we have been sleeping over this issue, that is the illegal immigrants, for too long. Not only last government, but all the successive governments have been sleeping over this issue for too long. Until and unless the government of the day wakes up, I will be bringing up this issue in every assembly. Mr. Speaker, sir, our metropolitan districts such as Dimapur, Chemukilima, Newland have become a breeding ground for all illegal immigrants. If the government does not frame a policy in tackling this problem, we are going to become another Tripura. We are soon going to become minorities in our own country. So it's high time we wake up. Time has also come for the government of the day to focus on skill development, entrepreneurship, in order to eradicate unemployment problems in the state. Government also needs to promote and encourage private sectors, as the same will be a major contributor in creating jobs. Mr. Speaker, sir, now coming to Para 5 and 6 amendments. The reflection of Naga political issue in the governor's address is only a political gimmick. This will be raised only at the fake end. There is a correction error, spelling mistake. You can correct it. FAG, end of the tenor. Mr. Speaker, sir, coming to Naga political issue, let me be very fair. This is my 5th tenor, and I'm ashamed of myself. Because every tenor, only in the fake end, we bring out this issue, showing that we're sincere in it, our approaches are sincere, just to fool the publics. So this time around, I really want to request the leader of the House, from the starting of the ministry, that is right after this assembly, a joint legislative forum on Naga political issue should be formed. And a smaller committee can also be formed with all political parties as members. If we do that, that will be a sign where publics and our national workers will think that and will know that, yes, this time around, under the leadership of Rio and the new government, they are really serious on Naga political issue. Why I raise this issue every now and then is because I am proud to say that my NPF party champions the cause of Naga political issue. This Naga political issue is the brainchild of NPF. NPF champions the cause of Naga political issue. Why I say this is I have proof and evidence, and I can substantiate my claims that there is no other political party who can challenge this. And if they do so, they can bring out their facts and figures also. Mr. Speaker, sir, as a reminder to substantiate my claim, DPN, Democratic Party of Nagaland, was born in the year 1963, 21st October. Many of us were not born at that time also. We were never born. Under the chairmanship of A.K. Society. This was formed in view of the trouble-torn situation in the state and conflict between India and Nagas, the so-called famous Indo-Naga political conflict. A.K. Society, I guess we all know him. He's the first graduate among the Nagas. He had political vision, he was brainy, he was dynamic in every aspect. He saw that once the Nagas come into the state or is being observed under the Union of States, and once they start getting facilities and appointments, this Naga political issue will die. So in order to take up this Naga political issue, he had created a political platform, a party, which will always highlight about this issue. Mr. Speaker, sir, every now and then, in every platform, we talk that we'll be expediting this Naga political issue. We'll bring it to a logical conclusion. How much time we will save? This is for the 21st year. In my 5th innings, I'm saying this again. Now I feel it is time, as leaders, we should also walk the talk. Keep our promises, keep our commitment. Prime Minister on 24th in Agri Expo, February, what did he say? On 2020, what did Amit Shah, Home Minister, in Montown, has stated? I brought the papers with me. He stated that reiterating the BJP's commitment towards Naga political talks, such as our aim is to make peace talks successful and solve Naga political problem. That is what he stated. Are they coming to the state only to fool us again and again and repeat the same word and do nothing about it? Or are they sincere? Mr. Speaker said, we should not throw the ball to the court anymore now. If the 60 legislators are sincere and if we have the political will, I think in 1 year's time, we can wind up Naga political issue and allow an interim government to take over. Then people will start respecting us. Today, 60 of us, we are occupying this chair. Most of 29 are for the first time, the rest are for second, fourth term. The Naga publics do not respect us. Look at the social media platform, the way they criticize us, laugh at us, the way they belittle us. Why is this going on? You do the research. It's because we don't keep our words as a leader. We don't walk the talk. That's why there is no respect. All we have to do is, the moment we start keeping our words, we walk the talk, then respect will come back. Therefore, I feel, in spite of all these commitments, I think it's high time government of India also needs to walk the talk, and we, as always said, as facilitator, we should welcome an inclusive, honorable, and acceptable solution to the long protracted Naga political problem. Mr. Speaker, sir, on the amendments, I will try to cover some, but what I cannot cover, my friend will be covering up. I want to come to the Home Department. Mr. Speaker, sir, while congratulating our Deputy Chief Minister for consecutively taking Home Department for 3 terms, some feeling drop out on me. He's a brother to me, and I thought I should give him some very positive advices. The first term, he held the home portfolio for little 2 years and above. With 2 years and above, how much can you do? You cannot. With law and order problem here and there, elections nearing, any person in his shoes will not be able to do much. Second term, he took over. Yes, he did a lot of good things. But at the same time, with that corona pandemic, almost 2 years, offices were closed down. Our assembly was not in operation, and therefore nothing much could be done again, which we don't blame him. The collapse of Home Department, we cannot blame him alone. It is collective, which includes me. I was also Home Minister, but though it was a very short period, I couldn't do much. His predecessors, we believe, also having little time, could not do much. But the time may come where publics may start questioning him. For 3 terms he had it. What could he do for the department? So before publics criticize him, I thought I'll try to advise the government, because he alone cannot do it. He needs the cooperation of all 60 members to bring some reformation in the department. Today, we have a very good officer in place, in person of Rupen Sharma, who is disciplined, who has the willpower to do things. And with his cooperation, I think, there can be total reformation in Home Department. If Home Department is disciplined, the whole state is disciplined. If the Home Department is organized, the whole state is well organized. If the Home Department is punctual, the whole state is punctual. So with Home Department, the state can rise up or it can fall down. Today in the amendment, I have written, police force has been reduced to only static duty and VIP duties and nothing beyond that. I'm sure everybody will agree with me. How much police personnel are being roped in for static duties and VIP duties? I want to request the Home Minister to cut down the VIP bodyguards. And I've seen even ordinary citizens, party officials having bodyguards. Principal secretary, they're not entitled. Commissioner secretary, they're not entitled. How come a mere public is having full of bodyguards and roaming in the street? Today, it should be drastically cut down. That includes mine also. Everybody's. So that we can use them for a better purpose. law and order, tackling crime, so on and so forth. Nagaland police, for the last 7 decades, have performed anti-militancy operations alone. Therefore, the nature, structure, and attitude of the force is largely of armed police. Out of the approximately 26 strong forces, 26,000 strong forces, 19,000 is armed component, almost 20%. The civil police, IE, DEF, police station, crime branch, EOW, etc. are hardly 25 to 30%. This is exactly contrary to all other states. It's just the opposite to all the other states. Now, with the change of style and situation, the focus should be more on strengthening the civil police. For that, serious reorganization and restructuring of the Nagaland police is needed. That would reflect the new realities and more relevant to the current Naga society. 2. Increased internet connectivity, please give to Chief Minister, Increased internet connectivity in the whole state of the country has led to many cyber crimes, economic offense, organized crimes, etc. has increased. More emphasis on improving the capabilities are required. Number 3, state has very poor forensic abilities. This needs to be improved very, very seriously in order to nab the culprits, in order to solve cases. Every district should have forensic vans, trained personnel, and this should be well organized. Number 4, all appointments, recruitments in the force should be only through open recruitment policy or process. If not this, number 4, if appointments and recruitments can be done on open recruitment policy, then I think our Deputy Chief Minister, Mr. Y. Patton, will champion the cause. He will bring a lot of laurels and he will be appreciated by one and all. Most of the officers want to only serve in Dimapur, Kohima. This is the biggest problem department is facing and the Home Minister in charge is facing. I'm sure he will be having the biggest headache when the transfer and posting comes. Everybody wants only Dimapur and Kohima. Nobody wants to go to the interiors. So I think the interiors are badly neglected for this. The state should be divided in tough, soft areas, and there should be a policy where every officer is posted for a minimum period of 5 to 6 years also, or even more, in the interior, to come to a certain rank of IGP or DIG. I think the criteria should be a police officer should minimum serve 5 to 7 years in interiors. If that is the case, then it will be made compulsory. Or else, only those people who are having the best backing, political backing, will only get the good postings. And those who don't have connection, for the rest of their life, they are in the interiors. This is one very bad thing that is going on. The IRB is the main fighting force. Its youthfulness should be maintained. All new constables should mandatorily serve at least minimum number of years in the IRB. We should try and strengthen the IRB once again. Mr. Speaker, sir, 20, 30 years back, police personnel were highly respected. Today, there is no more respect. We have to bring back that respect. And to bring that respect to them, they need to be empowered. Politicians should not try to interfere in all the cases. We don't blame the police. The police top-ranking officers from DG down to SPs are all efficient. They are all smart, efficient, dynamic. But who is weakening them? It is you and me, political power, using our chair, calling them up. That is my neighbor, that is my friend, that is my close relative. Though that case is winning, you will release him. That's where things are going wrong. A large component of the forces is utilized in providing bodyguards, house guard to all type of people. There is no force available for genuine police work. As I stated, there is no more force for genuine police works. There should be a clear policy of providing bodyguards and house guards. I think a new policy needs to be framed. No political interference in transfer or during the investigation of cases or disciplinary proceeding against any police personnel. Supposing a police officer takes up a certain serious case, politicians ring up. They want to transfer him because he might do justice. We prevent police officers from doing justice. It should be our duty to call the police officer and tell him, you do justice. That fellow may be my relative, my anything, but do justice. It should be we as leaders, we should impose that. But we don't impose. In fact, we are the root cause of all trouble. Most important and immediate requirement is to constitute a directorate of prosecution, so that independent and sufficient public prosecutions are available. Sir, Mr. Speaker, sir, there are a lot of criminal activities, crimes happening, people are arrested, but no one is prosecuted. That way people are more rather encouraged to do that crime or go create a worse crime, because they know police will not arrest them, nothing will happen. So in order to discourage this, I think a directorate of prosecution is needed. And also, last but not the least, the police budget has not been reviewed for a very long time, and therefore police also gets very less budget. I think this time around, the police budget also needs to be increased. This is what I feel. Mr. Speaker, sir, last but not the least, I came across an article which was aimed at our leader. What legacy are we going to leave behind? I think that article was not only aimed at him, but is aimed at all of us. It should be a reminder to all of us. Today, I also am pondering, if I complete this term, it's going to be 25 years in this assembly, in this house. Within these 25 years, what have I done for my people? What good I have done? What policy changes that I have brought? Today, we need to ponder. We need a welfare government to reach out to the poor, needy, to the unreachable, the untouchable. We need to judiciously utilize our funds and see development. There is a Bible king say, what's the use if you gain the whole world but lose your soul in the process? We're all going on that line. We're trying to gain the whole world, but in the process, we're all going to go to hell. How many more years can we occupy this chair? How many more years can we be in this assembly? I think time has come for all of us to put things back. To do justice, help those who need help. Facilities, funds should go to the right person, not to the next of kin, family, this and that, no. Deduction in the department need to be minimized so that contractors will be able to do proper development with quality work. All these things need to be controlled. The last words of Lata Mangeshkar touched my heart. So I want to remind this August House that at the end of the day, death is imminent to all of us. We think we are all immortal human beings, but no. A time is set for each and every one of us. So when we have the time to live, let us think right. And so I want to read that small portion. Nothing is in this world is more truth than death. The world's most expensive branded car is parked in my garage, but I was put in a wheelchair. I have all kinds of designs and colors in this world. Expensive clothes, expensive shoes, expensive accessories, but I am in a little gown in the hospital that the hospital gave me. I have a lot of money in my bank accounts, but it is of no use to me anymore. My house is like a palace for me, but I lay in a small bed in a hospital. I kept roaming in 5-star hotels in the world, but now I began to spend from one lab to another lab in hospitals. There were times when 7 hairstylists used to clean my hair every day, but today I have no more hair in my head. I used to eat in various 5-star hotels around the world, but today my diet is only 2 pills a day and 1 drop of salt at night. I was traveling around the world on different planes, but today 2 people are helping me to go out the hospital corridor and come in. None of the features help me. Not comfortable in any way, but the faces of some loved ones, their blessings and prayers keep me alive to this life. No matter how much wealth you have, you will leave empty-handed. Be kind, help those you can. Avoid giving importance to people who love only money and power. Love good people. Appreciate what they are to you. Don't hurt anyone. Be good. Do good. Do good because it will follow you. At the end of the day, Mr. Speaker, we all came empty-handed. We'll go empty-handed. So it's no use trying to only gain property, richness, position. Ultimately, the answer is we should try to help people in need. With these few words, I want to thank you for giving me this time, as I stated, if the government is willing to listen to our advices, the amendments can be withdrawn anytime. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. I also join my leader in congratulating you for assuming the most prestigious office constitution post for the 2nd consecutive decade. Since I also hold a very important position in the party, on behalf of the party, I also would like to congratulate our Honorable CM for assuming the post of Chief Minister for the 5th term. I also would like to congratulate our lady colleagues, Honorable Minister Mrs. Sumitano Kose and my friend Hikani Trakalo Pense for making it to this house. In fact, I'm excited because I attended the past 3 elections and I felt when I won, 2 of the lady friends joined me. So, in fact, I'm the most happiest of all. Well, I rise to move amendment for the governor's address. Since this is my maiden speech, Honorable Speaker, sir, as per the parliamentary procedures and conventions, I may be allowed to touch here and there as I go on with my speech. I would like to quote William Shakespeare before I proceed, where he said, "Some are born great, some achieve greatness, some are thrust upon, some are greatness thrust upon them." I would like to remind the honorable members of this 14th House that we are in the 3rd category, that we are not born great, neither we have achieved greatness, but greatness has been thrust upon us. We are all responsible people to take our people forward. As far as the First Amendment is concerned, my leader has elaborated in detail. To save time, I will not dwell on that. I would like to come back to the second amendment, that is the Naga political issue. My leader has already pointed out that this party, from the day one of its formation, the main objective is to bring about an honorable, acceptable, and inclusive solution to the Naga political issue. A party that was formed in a very crucial period, and 12 of them won, as he has mentioned, from this party, and they resigned in bloc, thinking that they had done their job because a ceasefire came in between at that point of time it was the NNCFGN and the government of India. And after that, even in 1998, when the ceasefire was signed between the NSCN and the government of India united with effect on 1st of August 1997, the assembly election was announced. And there was a call from the civil society that the political parties must refrain from participating in the election. And this party responded positively, and we did not participate even in the 1998 election on this Naga political issue. Today, we went to the electorates with the same objective. Our manifesto. In the manifesto, we have mentioned about solving the Naga political issue. If we don't raise this in the first assembly, we will be failing our electorates as promised during the election. I would like to refresh our memories because it is important to know from where we have come. At least we will know where we are heading for. As we all are fully aware, the Naga Club was formed in 1980, and the formation of this club was actually political in nature. On the 10th of January 1929, they have submitted a memorandum to Sir Simon Commission, who was visiting our land. And I don't want to go into all detail, but Speaker Sir, with your permission, I would like to read out the last portion of the memorandum which was submitted to the Simon Commission. This was, according to the record, drafted by one Razakro, a high school teacher. Of course, the record also shows that a Khasi gentleman has also assisted in the usage of the language. The last para says that we should not be trusted to the mercy of other people who could never be subjected, but to leave us alone to determine ourselves as in ancient times. We claim not only the members of the Naga Club to represent those regions to which we belong. They have mentioned about Angami, Nota, Sema, Ringma, but they have also mentioned Kacha Nagas. This is a very deep political meaning because they have stated that to leave us alone to determine ourselves as in ancient times. Meaning to say that Nagas are independent before even the advent of the British. Forget about India becoming independent with effect on 15 August 1947. And this is where our people have taken a stand. This is the position of the Naga people from 1929 till today. Now, when they mention Kacha Nagas, Speaker Sir, they meant Nagas outside the present state of Nagaland. Today, we have reduced ourselves into Nagas of Nagaland, Nagas of Arunachal, Nagas of Manipur, Nagas of Burma, Nagas of Assam. Why should we make ourselves such a small people, Speaker Sir, when our leaders with less education, with less exposure, could think of, could have a vision for the entire Naga people? Kacha Nagas means the Nagas living outside the present state of Nagaland. That was what they meant, which also includes the Nagas of Burma. This is how the Naga Club represented in the Simon Commission. Now, the letter which was dispatched to the Simon Commission, at that point of time, the Deputy Commissioner of the Naga Hill district, because we were a part of Assam, no Kohima, no Mamochung district. So J.H. Hodden was the Deputy Commissioner. And according to the record, that he had seen the memorandum before it was presented to the Summon Commission, because it has to go through him in the Deputy Commission. But he made no changes in that memorandum. Now, instead of changing the memorandum which was drafted by the Naga Club, he has sent a note, a separate note, to the Simon Commission. And I would like to quote, with your permission, just a small portion, that none of these tribes, this is what J.H. Hutton, this is not my language, but the language written by J.H. Hutton. None of these tribes are Indians at all, within inverted commas. The true solution of the question of their administration is the gradual creation of self-governing communities, semi-independent in nature. This is how he strongly supported the memorandum drafted, submitted by the Simon Commission. I mean, by the Naga Club to the Simon Commission. Now, the very interesting part, Mr. Speaker, sir, of this memorandum is, this memorandum was debated in the House of Commons, Mr. Speaker, sir. This memorandum of the Naga Club, which was a note being also supported by J.H. Hutton, was debated in the House of Commons. Debated in the House of Commons in May 1935. And I'm sure the honorable members of this House are fully aware that Naga areas are kept as excluded area, Mr. Speaker. And how this excluded area came in? Because of the debate in 1935 in the House of Commons, resulting into the Naga area being kept into excluded area. And for which we have made our foundation very strong today, claiming for a viable Naga homeland. Now, that was 88 years ago, the excluded area which was debated and in the House of Commons and included in the Government of India in 1935, it was kept as excluded area. And for which, as my leader has also mentioned about the origin of the inner line permit, all this came in, but this is how the history goes. Now, in the Governor's interest, to this Honorable House, to this August House, on the 21st of March, the Para 5 and 6. We are happy that on the Para 6, that he has mentioned about honorable, acceptable, and inclusive solution. But we are not satisfied with, because it has not been elaborated in detail. As far as my party is concerned, Honorable Speaker, sir, we believe in shared Naga homeland, which is a part of our manifesto and our party's constitution. That integration is a birthright of the Naga people, because we don't intend to encroach a land that belongs to other community. We are only seeking for restoration of a land that belongs to our people, because our land and our people have been divided, dissected without the consent and knowledge of the Naga people. And therefore, this is our birthright, that our land should be integrated. And these are a part of the 16-point agreement, as well as the 9-point agreement. Now, in that Para 5 and 6, not even a whisper about shared Naga homeland, Naga integration. I'm fully aware that this House, this accursed House, has passed on 6 occasions, about one on 12th December 1964, where an Assembly resolution had been passed on the Naga integration, on 28 August 1970, on 16 September 1994, on 18 December 2003, on 27 August 2015, and the last one was 20th September 2018. I would suggest, if the government can consider in including the same in the first session. I would like to remind the Honorable House, the August House, that Honorable members of the August House, that when our issue has been even debated in the House of Commons. We should be serious enough in debating this Naga political issue. Because unless we resolve this, we are reducing ourselves to a small people. As I mentioned, many of us started talking of Nagas of Nagaland, Nagas of Assam, Arunachal. Tomorrow, after 10 years from now, Honorable Speaker, sir, some of us will be speaking, we are Nagas of Ukha district, we are Nagas of Kohima district. How can we make ourselves, our people, to be very small? When our leaders, our elders can envision a nation for us. This is what I would like to advocate. And for a nation, the Naga area is not small, Mr. Honorable Speaker said. If Nagas of Burma and India are integrated, we are as big as European nations like Denmark, Netherlands, Belgium, and Switzerland. If this nation can progress, one of the most advanced nations of this Naga areas are as big as, if not bigger than this. And this is the history, and I would like to come back to the present context. That the 9-point agreement, which was signed in June 1947, it has become an unwanted child. Because of what? The reason was because of the interpretation of the agreement that was put in the paper. The clause 8 of the 9-point agreement says that after 10 years, Nagas will be allowed to determine whether they will continue with the same agreement or they will be allowed to again decide for their future. Now there was a variation of interpretation, Honorable Speaker, sir, that at that point of time we were represented by the NNCFGN. So from the NNCFGN point of view, they thought after 10 years, and that was what they've understood, and it is correct, that Nagas should be allowed to again determine for ourselves, for our future. But from the government of India, they were of the opinion that no, this was signed prior to the declaration of the Indian independence. And so they have inherited from the British. They went on twisting that interpretation, the clause. And that's why there was a conflict of interest between the NNCFGN and the government of India, where the issue that the agreement, 9-point agreement was period, without any execution, without any implementation. Today, if you see the 2015 framework agreement signed between the NSCNI and the government of India, where they say, this is what some of the wise people say, that history repeats, Honorable Speaker said. And this is what is happening today. The NSCNI says that there is a portion of sovereignty, shared sovereignty in the framework agreement. The government of India interprets in their own way. So this is how the wise people say that history repeats. It is happening today, the 9-point agreement, where we could not take forward because of the variation of interpretation of the agreement that has been entered. Today, what is happening today? The NSCNI interprets in their own way. The government of India interprets in their own language. And at the end of the day, the Naga agreements are shrouded, period, in reducing the semantics. Only language, playing of language. Nothing is happening on the ground. Government of India has been telling us from long before that you unite. A solution will come in. Today, if you see the agreed position of which was signed with the NNPGs again on the 17th of November 2017, and various concordance, covenant with the initiations of various civil societies led by the FNR. In fact, there is in total agreement between this NNPGs and NSNI as far as the solution is concerned. There should be no pretext whatsoever. There should be no excuse again to tell us that you unite and we give solution. I think this is what is, we should be serious on this, and we should pursue upon the government of India that Nagas yearn for early, honorable and inclusive solution. Because, Mr. Speaker, sir, solution to the Naga political issue, it is not only in the interest of the Naga people alone.
It is also in the interest of the government of India, India as a nation. The government of India keeps talking about look east policy. Mr. Speaker, sir, from look east policy, they have now changed into act east policy. How do we execute this act east policy, Honorable Speaker, sir? Without going through the Naga areas of Chinwin River, the Burma areas, the Naga areas, how do we pass through the Thailand, the Southeast Asian nations? Don't you think a viable peace is required, an honorable solution is required on the Naga issue to get through their dreams and visions? It is not only in the interest of our people, but also it will be in the interest of the government of India that a solution be arrived at so that a corridor for economic strengthening of the economic avenues for our people may also come in. This is where we stand on the Naga political issue. I would like to touch upon the para 11 of the amendment which we have moved. The governor, in his address, have mentioned about Department of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. There are so many schemes mentioned here. We are afraid that all points have not been touched. Mr. Speaker, sir, there is a human and animal conflict. Especially, I represent 40 Pandari Assembly constituency. A herd of elephants. It is almost their home. The forest, the field, the battlefields are being destroyed every year, and almost every year, 1 or 2 human life lost. Hardly 10,000-20,000 they receive from the government, from the department, and there is no mitigation to this. There is no, I did not see any policy, a long-term policy from the government aspect, from the government side. This needs to be looked into. Whether the question is whether we allow the elephants, the animal to survive, or the human to survive. There's a big question here. Unless we have the department address on this issue, the poor villagers have to abandon their battlefield, the forest, and what is the alternative for the villagers to survive? I would like to draw the attention of the government to look into this aspect as you draw a new policies to take the government forward. I also would like to touch upon the para 24 of the governor's address, Honorable Speaker, sir. I'm happy that the government has given attention on the foothills route, Transnet, Nagaland Highway, but it was mentioned only 320 kilometers. 320 kilometers. This foothill road touches about the whole stretch of Assam border, covering about 10-11 tribes of Nagaland. Now, it was initiated in 2013, 11 years ago now, under the Planning Commission under a special plan fund. I hope I'm correct with my statistics. In 2014, from 2014, a small fund was given in 2013 under special plan fund. So the construction started, and it was under the sponsorship of the Planning Commission. But Honorable Speaker, sir, you are aware, the Planning Commission was replaced by the Niti Aayog. So after that replacement, the Niti Aayog has not taken any special interest on this road. And that's how the construction is becoming slow, rather, literally speaking, it has stopped. And therefore, this needs the attention of the government. But they have mentioned about 320 kilometers. This could be easy to demand. But according to the original survey, it has to be easy to Kelma, which stretches about 392 kilometers. So we are dropping about 62 kilometers, 72, something like that. So I would also like to know how the rest of the kilometers have been dropped from this governor's address, because they mentioned only 320, it has been 392 kilometers. I also would like to touch upon, Honorable Speaker, sir, the para 25 of the governor's address. We are happy that the government is determined to establish the Medical College Kohima. It is actually overdue, long overdue, that government has mentioned this, but the government has become a little ambitious, that mentioning that attempting to convert into an institution like REAMS and AIMS. I think first thing first, Honorable Speaker, sir, we must start the institution first. Let us see the medical college with our own eyes, touch with our own hand, or visit with our own feet. Then only let us talk about, converting into a REAMS like, AIMS like, which is a standard too high at the moment before we start. But what is important here is, what I would like to mention is, during the COVID time, 2019-20, there was a lot of halabula for the health issues, and the government at that point of time was kind enough to pursue for another medical college in Mon district. I mean Mon town, Mon district. But in this governor's address, it was not found, nothing has been mentioned here. And therefore, the Honorable Minister in charge of Medical, Health and Family Welfare may be curious to know, not only me, but how this Mon Medical College, the progress, how it has been dropped from this Honorable Governor's address. I would like to supplement what my leader has said about the police, the law and order. The Honorable Deputy CM in charge of Home may like to respond to this, that there was a firing on the 18th of March between the two factions. The NSCN led by Kango, another one led by Isam. Now, we wish to know the status of which faction is being dealt by the Nagaland government or government of India, and also this ceasefire monitoring cell of this group is located in the public place. Honorable Speaker said, even automatic rifle, all those are being fired at home. The life of the public are being endangered. I have not come across any action being taken, any report being given by the police forces. What is the action taken so far? And what is the status? Honorable Deputy CM in charge of Home may like to respond. I think this is important because this is about, we are talking about safety of our people. This has to be looked into. Honorable Speaker, sir, I would like to conclude. The last point is about the ULB election, urban local bodies. Well, this we have tried when my party was in government in 2017, and as per the directive from the Honorable Supreme Court of India, we have tried announcing the election. We have gone ahead, but unfortunately, the response from our people was too violent. Honorable Speaker, sir, you are fully aware that many houses, including some government buildings, were burned down. The candidates were excommunicated. The house of the candidates were vandalized. And most of all, Honorable Speaker, sir, two young gentlemen, life were lost. Now, despite of having all this knowledge with the government, they went ahead announcing the election to conduct, and the notification was issued on the 9th of March to go ahead with the election. Civil societies, various organizations have been protesting, asking for amendment of some of the portions of the Municipal Act 2001. So far, we have not satisfied the demands of these civil societies. Now, Honorable Speaker, sir, if we go ahead with the election, as already announced by the government today, then more further division among the people will come, more violent, there will be chaos and confusion. And we never know what will happen. And foreseeing such situations, if government is even determined to go ahead, who will be held responsible, Honorable Speaker, sir? As far as my party is concerned, we have already issued an official statement that till a consensus is arrived among the Danga people, this has to be kept on hold because I'm aware that there's a directive from the government of India. But as far as electioneering is concerned, for hill areas like Nagaland and other states, the rainfall comes in with the onset of monsoon like May onwards, till October. So that would be one prediction. But as far as municipal election is concerned, town council election is concerned, Honorable Speaker, sir, it is confined within the town. We don't need to go through those rough terrain road where a good weather is required to conduct election. So that could be, it cannot be an excuse that it has to be conducted. One. Two, since there is a directive, the election has to be held. But the question is, if we are going to repeat the same episode of 2017, Honorable Speaker, sir, what will be the situation of our people? And therefore, I would like to urge upon the government to rethink on this notification, because now today is 23rd. Only about 10 days to go for nomination. The first day of the nomination starts on the 3rd of April, which ends on the 10th of April. So time is running short, and therefore, a broad-based consultation is required with the civil societies. A consensus has to be arrived at. Then only we can go ahead. Otherwise, if there is a variation of opinion among the civil societies, immediately that matter has to be taken to the government of India and the Supreme Court. That look, this is a situation, and we have this episode in the past, this story in the past, and we don't want to repeat this. And therefore, we should be given enough time to console our people. Then only we take a decision. One thing I would like to remind the government is there was also an amendment of the reservation of the office of the chairperson for women in the ensuing municipal town council election 2023. Now, this, to me, as already mentioned, it has been proven beyond doubt that our women folk are also equally capable. They have the ability to compete with the women, with men folk. And it has been already demonstrated by two of our women, lady friends here, Kikon and Sulutun. As far as reservation, 33% is concerned, it is also still yet to be debated. But again, if we are reservation, there is a reservation within the reservation. I think it is actually a discrimination. Once elected, they are also equally capable of competing for the chairperson post. When our people are not even yet to accept even the 33% reservation, again, we are going ahead reservation for a chairperson's post. I think this is where we have to think very seriously, because this way we are pushing our people again back to the wall. So therefore, these are the area of concern that I have raised. I'm in agreement with my leader that we have already submitted a letter of support to this government, and we are thankful to our Honorable CM for expressing positive statement on that. But I would like to conclude.
Thank you, sir, for the time. Sir, we are grateful to the Honorable Governor, where we have been given this assignment for the year 23-24. in his began speech in this August House of 21st, 2023. Sir, I will not dwell too much according to Parawise, but I want to highlight a little bit about Naga political solution. Sir, all of us have been always critical about Naga solution. Yes, we do admit that the new and old members of this house have been always participating in a Naga solution in our own way, what contribution that each individual of us can give. We have tried our best for quite some time, and peace has been exist for last almost 24 years. Our dream has not come to an end where the conflict had to bring a resolution to some conclusion, but Naga issue could not come to an end till this far. But I think the people and the government of the day have tried its best, and we have been facilitating them to what extent that we can give our effort towards the peace process. Now the ball is in the court of the negotiating party and the government of India. However, I don't want that all honorable members should be, sir, to be too critical about Naga issue, because this is an issue. So nobody can expect a miracle. But we only request the negotiating party to devise a formula as to how to address the need of the people. And we should always confine towards the present time scenario. Otherwise, if we go back to 40s, 50s, Simon Commission, that is only a history that remains with us. But let us be very practical. What had to happen at this time to the Nagas, and for which I would request and appeal the honorable members that we let us jointly put an effort without discouraging or without running away from the issue, because this is our issue. We represent the people. Therefore, I would request all the honorable members to give more concern towards this Naga political issue as to how to bring it to a calculation. We should prayerfully request Government of India also, and the stakeholders also, and the civil societies and the NGOs who have taken pains enough to bring all the stakeholders together except one or two who are not on board. But according to Government of India, even they are expected to be online. And let us not discourage ourselves or discourage the people, but let us try to force and please put our efforts to certain stakeholders so that may not be for you, may not be for me, but sir, peace and a resolution should come for people who are to continue to live as Nagas. May not be benefited to the present time members, but we have to look for the future also. Therefore, let us, I don't mean I'm not targeting anybody, but let us not be very critical towards this peace efforts, and let us put all our heads together and force for the solution. Sir, I want to come back to Para 8, the Department of Animal and Veterinary Husbandry and Veterinary. Sir, we have been always talking about the sufficiency of meat, because 70-80% of the Nagas are meat eaters, consumers, and we have been always talking that meat production should increase, and here reflection, they are huge, but we still lack in producing the need for the people of the state. Therefore, like for example, Peg district have banned the import of meat from outside the district. I would request the department concerned and the administrative chair also to see that how effective it is. What is the production strength of Peg district? Whether people are enough with their non-import of the meat from outside the district, whether it is enough, whether they are sufficient or not. If it is sufficient, I think in line with PEC, I think that should be extended to other districts also, and we should pick up the traditional grading system or whatever way that PEC people are achieving, that should be expedited, and it should be not made known to the people with a wide publicity that these are the systems that we are picking up. Otherwise, our earning has gone to other states for the meat consumers, we have a protection bill. Our lakhs, crores of money is going to Kolkata every day. I'm not citing about the legal issue, but like that, we are not careful. We don't pay heed to our issue as to how we should be stable in our economy, and we are very careless. We get easy money, I don't know, and that easy money goes away from us without anything which has happened with us. Itu kani amagal economy because of our carelessness, we are not putting our efforts, but easy going, easy spending has spoiled our people. Therefore, I want to see that the veterinary department can once again work up and give certain aid beyond your efforts, whatever efforts the department is taking care. So that is also one. And another appeal to the honorable leader of the house that the students, technical students, medicine students, we are happy that Kohima is going to have full functional medical college by next academic session, we are told, and it has been reflected like that. But sir, what about Moon? If it can be expedited on time, and if these two institutions can facilitate our young students, medical students, instead of going outside the state and struggling for economic problem and this and that like that. Therefore, I would request the leader of the house, because it is silent here about the veterinary college which is ongoing. It is in Jalagi, but today in today's governor's speech, I think it is silent. I don't know whether the department could not give a feedback, but I want to know that the status of veterinary college at Jalagi to this house, if Honorable Chief Minister can tell us in his reply. Then also, we need both medical, veterinary, other services, and then also equally we need the engineering service, where Kalasha Polytechnic has been declared to be declared as a full-fledged engineering college, but this has not been reflected. I want to know from the leader of the house as to why this has been remained silent. So if it can be highlighted to honorable members, the rest issue, I think this is our commitment. This is a government's commitment that governor has entrusted us to implement. So whether all the department can successfully implement in totality or not, because like in the roads and bridges, we have certain flagship programs. You are not sure whether you get everything or not, but to the extent of possible, whatever responsible that we are being given, sir, we will try our best to end up with a commitment, whatever is reflected in our honorable governor's speech. With these few words, thank you so much.
I now give time to
Speaker sir, thank you for the time. At the outset, I want to congratulate you for having been elected for the second consecutive term to cover this prestigious and dignified office of the Honorable Speaker. And also, I wanted to thank and congratulate our leader of the House, Sri Neiphiu, for successfully holding the office of the Honorable Chief Minister for the 5th time in the history of Naga. And sir, I also wanted to congratulate all the 60 members for having been elected to this house. 31 of us are all members, and 21 of them are new members. And with this 29 new and fresh entry to this workers' house, I am confident that delivery to the service of the people will be more enhanced and will serve our people to the expectation of our own people as the people's mandate. So now your 5 minutes is concluded. Let me come to our speech. Most of that. I am deeply appreciated and sincerely join me with the motion mover that the Honorable Governor has delivered his of his speech on the 1st March in his first session of the 14th House. While moving for the motion, I wanted to dwell on the Vara 6, of which our Honorable Minister and my friend, Mr. Kaito, has just mentioned about the political issue. I shall be dwelling on 5 or 6 paras only, so I'll not take more than 1 hour. Sir, let me quote para number 5, the middle sentence. Unresolved political issue which has impacted every sphere of the society and created hurdles, especially to the economy and progress of the state. Our people, the society at large, owing to the unique challenges and constraints created by the decades-long unresolved political issue, has not been able to fully grow and realize their fullest potentials that would happen otherwise. And in some way or other, the smooth march of the state on the path of development and prosperity has been affected. Unquote. And let me come to para 6. My government will be proactive and continue playing the role of a sincere and active facilitator for strengthening the ongoing peace process, for bringing an early solution. We remain committed of not coming in the way of an agreement that is arriving through the peace process that is honorable, 1, 2, acceptable, 3, inclusive. Sir, I wanted to make a small submission here in para 5 and 6. Well, the quoted para 5, which I just now quoted, is well represented, and this is the crux of the issue. And para 6, I wanted to tweak here a little bit, especially on the given 3 conditions: honorable, acceptable, and inclusive. I am in full agreement with our honorable member and honorable minister, Mr. Kaito, that we can't be over critical over this issue. This video house has passed several resolutions in the past for bringing up this political issue to an end or to a settlement, amicable settlement. We are 60 but 1 in this regard. And today also we reiterate that we are 1 in this pursuit. And somewhere in 2017, General Secretary of the PGB party, Mr. Ramata, in one of the occasions, he did say that an election for solution. I wanted to agree with him. With that sentence, election for solution. Because before that 2017, or for that matter 18 election, even in 2015, the government of India, led by Sri Narendra Modi ji as Prime Minister, he has entered into a peace agreement with the NLA. The original peace process initiated from 1997. When this framework agreement was signed, it was with the full confidence that the political issue would come to an amicable solution. And with that confidence, the Prime Minister has announced, even in the world platform, that we are in the process of bringing to an end of long-standing political issue. The chapter was open, wide open to the Naga people. Those who were initiated, negotiations were open. Over the years, both sides created several hurdles on the way to resolving the Naga political issue. I understand that it cannot be a one-way traffic. Since it is a negotiation between the two conflicting parties, if there is any failure, both the parties should be equally played, but not one. Here, I wanted to say in this way, negotiation we are conducting with the government of India. Naga people are conducting with the government of India. Because they are the parent body, they are the sovereign authority. And therefore, our approach of the instant problem should be in such a way that it is realistic, it is rational. It has to be acceptable. It has to be acceptable by both the parties. We don't expect that one party should be dictating over the others. No, that is not, or that can be termed as a negotiation. When there is a negotiation for a certain dispute between the two parties, there should be a spirit of accommodation from both the parties. I'm talking for repetitive focus and time about this political issue on the principle of flexible diplomacy. All the people, as well as the government of India, should apply this instrument of flexible diplomacy. There should be compromises, give and take. And one of the certain issues. I was there when our House delegation met the Honorable Prime Minister. I am told that he even pronounced that 80% of the issue, you can take it now. 20%, let the time be here. And according to my analysis of the Prime Minister's word, I feel that there was also a very positive approach of the Prime Minister. And it appealed to the Naga people to understand that the government of India is sincere and committed. When the government of India is committed and sincere for resolution of this Naga issue, our Naga people should also understand to take advantage of the situation. Illukas, rigidity will never bring any good result for our posterity. And therefore, yes, the Honorable Governor has mentioned that my government will be proactive and continue playing the role of a sincere and active president. This is a very important word and sentence, written here and delivered by the Honorable Government. My government will be proactive and continue playing the role of a sincere and active president. I hope and I wish that we are committed to our own words in the days to come. Let me come to, sir, let me come to para number 23 and 24. Para number 23 and 24, I want to put together. Here, sir, the development of PWD R&D. And para 24 and 23, it is written like this in the last sentence. Out of this ongoing projects, 715 kilometers of road will be completed by 22-23. 269 kilometers of road will be completed during 23-24. And 174 kilometers of road will be completed during 24 and 25. That is for 3 financial years. Successive 3 financial years. The Honorable Governor says that it has to be completed within this given 3 years, financial year. Now, I understand that out of this three successive financial years, there is no mention of our new project being taken up by the new government. Here, let me go back to para number 4. The coming back of the NDPB and BCP alliance government, which is a sounding mandate, which has shown the economic enormous fact and reports in the ideals and the work done by the government in the last 5 years by the people of Nagara. The obligations of the Parapor. Parapor is not properly reflected here in Para 23. Whether there is any new project, new work contemplated to be taken up within the new year, that is 23-24 or 24-25, like that in the progressive years. Which the government and Honorable Minister in charge is also contemplating to take up any new rules which should be included in the development workbook. I want you to know. Here in the, that's what I wanted to mention, 23. If the development is contemplating to take up any new rules and additional rules, or in the name of new fresh mandate, formation of a new fresh mandated government, with the government and the Honorable Minister in charge is also contemplating, or in the mind to take up any new rule. I have one for my own concerns. I have one. I want to put a attention of Honorable Minister. I have one. Mawatondo Sabaya, 27 kilometers for accreditation, which was constructed in 2006 under NLA. Sir, I want to come to point number 24 about this 14 route construction. 14 route, Trans-Nagaland Highway, 320 kilometers stretch of route, which will shorten the travel distance within the state and enable the people of the state, especially from the eastern district, to travel across the state without crossing the interstate boundaries and connect economically important towns, hosting economic activities and a 3,000 square kilometer mineral rich region of the state. This is a precise sentence. Sir, I'm very thankful to the Honorable Governor for precisely mentioning the importance of this route. Sir, I wanted to recall the debate we had in the last season of the 13th House in this very August House. I move a motion here, and which your high office has taken cognizance, and that you have requested the leader of the House and Honorable Chief Minister to reply. And then Honorable Chief Minister and leader of the House was kind enough and revealed with good wisdom to take the sense of the House. My suggestion at that very session was to with various proposals under different department or NGOs to the NSC and then the donor ministry, but to put up this 40 route as a solo proposal from the state of Nepal. And Chief Minister take the sense of the House, and it was universally carried. The sense of the House, he was agreed. Now here, the Honorable Governor has mentioned that here in the last paragraph, the DPR for phase 1 and 2 of this proposed route project has been submitted to the Ministry of Road Transport and Highway. Sir, we are very grateful for submission of the DPR for phase 1 and phase 2. And yet, I wanted to have a query here in this very particular sentence. Last year, in this very House, we passed unanimous resolution to put up to the NSC and donor as a state solo agenda for taking up this route. But here, the Honorable Governor has mentioned, it has submitted to the Ministry of Road Transport and Highway. Anyway, it's good that the government has mentioned that it has already taken cognizance and that it is under due consideration. Somehow, I should rather propose in this way that this route is so much of economically important, commercially, and politically also. This route will be a heartline, economic heartline route of the state as a whole. And therefore, I wanted to request the Honorable Chief Minister as well as the Honorable Minister to kindly take up this 14 route construction. National, what is that? Trans-Nagaland Highway, 320 kilometers straight. So we taken up within this financial year 2023-24, and then make it into a relief so that it will bring the greatest relief and happiness to the people of the state. I want to come to the para number 27.
I think lunch break time, so how much time you will take? It may be mentioned. If you want to take more time, you can continue up in the afternoon.
I was just going to remind the honorable member that he has only consumed 20 minutes.
Give me 10 minutes.
You will
I will
have
mention
another
paragraph
5 minutes.
27.
Honorable member, you will have another 5 minutes to finish up your point.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. I want to come to paragraph number 27. Higher and technical education. In this very August House, I have been repeating this agenda for several times. I wanted to mention, even here today, again, that the ECO sanction be given to the KOC Polytechnic School to a home project in engineering college. According necessary approval for creation of ministerial staff as well as the teaching faculties. Because I understand that infrastructure, at least minimum requirement is already put in place, and therefore only the teaching faculties and some ministerial staff will be required, and then with some laboratory assistance. And therefore, this polytechnic, Kilosi Polytechnic, the first ever established polytechnic in the state, should be made as a full-fledged engineering college at the earliest. Then we come to last part, 32. Sir, I want to talk about the municipal election. And the recent past, there were so many write-ups in the social media as well as the print media about this Municipal Act of 2001. Here in the copy circulated by you today, I feel that the necessary amendment made, especially the third amendment, 2016, which is clear here in the last page, should be properly incorporated in the body of the Act, because it will go away unless it is printed in the text form. Here, in the third amendment, I may please be allowed to quote some of the words. Article 3.1, bracket 1, Municipal Act shall be omitted. Shall be omitted, that means not yet omitted. Because it is shall be omitted. Operative date was not mentioned. Shall be omitted. Here in bracket 2, all references to operative professions relating to tax on land and building, wherever tax occurs in Nagaland Municipal Act 2001, shall be deemed to have been omitted. This is correct. This is very satisfying. But bracket 1 shall be omitted means it is not yet omitted. And in the middle para, omission of subsection 4 and 5 of the section 120. The ending word is shall be omitted, means it is not yet omitted. Operative portion is not given there. Shall be omitted. It is written because there is the act. So the word mentioned in this law has to be distinctly clear. And here also omission of section 143, 44 and 45. Section 143 to 44, 45 of the Nagaland Municipal Act 2001 shall be omitted, means it is not yet omitted. Because if it is omitted, it has to be, shall be deemed to have been omitted. But it is written here, shall be omitted, means it is not yet omitted. And the next is 9, 1 and D, section 182, shall be omitted. Same thing. And therefore, I thought that necessary arrangement will be made by the concerned department and then issue under in the extra gazette notification for public consumption, so that doubtfulness in the minds of the people will be clear in reference to the law. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, honorable members. We will now adjourn for lunch. Lunch today is arranged.
Honorable Speaker, sir, I rise to participate in the debate on motion of thanks to Governor's address, which was delivered on 21st March 2023. Thank you for the time. Mr. Speaker sir, before I go any further, I would like to congratulate you on assuming the charge of Speaker for the second time. An honored position which is befitting to your stature, your intellect and composure. I wish you a successful inning once again. Mr. Speaker sir, I endorse the entire content of the Honorable Governor's address, which are all important and relevant, but I will restrict myself to a few paras only. Speaker sir, Honorable Governor's address to the August House the other day was not only his maiden address after he assumed the office recently, but this was also the first address right after the elections to the 14th Nagaland Legislative Assembly. Therefore, he was gracious enough to appreciate and thank the entire civil administration, police and all other agencies of the state who have worked tirelessly for smooth conduct of the elections and delivering free, fair and peaceful elections. It was indeed an appreciation they truly deserve. As mentioned in para 4 of Governor's address, the coming back of the NPPP-BJP alliance government with a resounding mandate has shown the enormous faith reposed in the ideals and the work done by the government in the last 5 years by the people of Nagaland. This is a testimony, Honorable Sir, Speaker Sir, of the BTA government that has done so much work in the last 5 years despite COVID challenges. Therefore, in order to continue to maintain the people's trust, this government is commencing this new term in the service of the people with clear vision and renewed vigor to bring about positive change, progressive development and all-round inclusive economic growth, not forgetting, of course, this has also been mentioned by many speakers earlier, also that bringing a solution to the long-standing political issue will be our agenda in the right earnest. Mr. Speaker sir, the socio-economic progress of our state continues to be reliant on agriculture and allied activities. In view of the fact that 70% of the population is directly or indirectly dependent on agriculture sector. Therefore, the PTA government is committed to give utmost importance towards improvement of agriculture sector for enhancing productivity and production. To this end, the various agri and allied departments during the current year and their plan of action for the coming year have been prominently highlighted from para 7 till 10, which are noteworthy. The policy and programs and achievements of other sectors of the government departments, as mentioned in the subsequent paras, also speaks volume about the pace of development and progress the state is witnessing, which is possible because of the strong and decisive leadership of the Honorable Chief Minister and the stable government that he is heading. I congratulate our Honorable Chief Minister for taking on the chair for the record 5th time as Chief Minister of Nagaland. I wish him good health, divine wisdom, vision to lead the people of Nagaland. Speaker sir, as we all know, education is important for growth of a vibrant society. Education not only makes a smart, informed population, but it boosts economic growth and increases the GDP of a nation. Therefore, the various innovative projects being implemented by school education for students across the state is noteworthy and appreciated by all. I would like to make a special mention of the World Bank funded project, the Nagaland Education Project, the Lighthouse, which is also called NECTA, and also the performance incentive grants made available to all the 1,953 government schools in Nagaland are novel initiatives which will give the much needed facelift to the to school infrastructure and also provide a fillip to the quality of education in Nagaland. Speaker Sir, establishment of the first ever medical college in Nagaland at Kohima, which is to start functioning from the academic year 2023-24, as mentioned at Para 25, is a welcome initiative of the government, which is going to fulfill the wishes and aspirations of the people of the state after a long time. These are testament of the PTA government's sincerity and commitment towards the cause and welfare of the people of Nagaland, in keeping with the PTA government's motto, towards the state of excellence. So with these few comments, I support a motion of thanks to Governor's address. Thank you very much, Speaker Sir, for the time given to me.
Speaker Sir, I have heard the Governor's address, and I should appreciate and congratulate the government under the dynamic leadership of Honorable Chief Minister, Shri Neiphiu, for bringing development to our people and the state as a whole. Speaker Sir, I would like to highlight on the socio-economic progress of our state, which is still dependent on agriculture and allied sector. I thank the government for issuing organic certification to 23,000 hectares of agricultural land in the state. The formation of 38 farmer producers organization will not only go a long way in boosting the village economy, but also create awareness among growers and farmers the importance of organic farming. I thank the government that the BWT National Highway will be widening the existing single land road to intermediate land in NH202 and Mugukchung to Jari. Various upgradation and construction of roads, bridges, projects under the development of BWT, such as Northeast Road Development Scheme, Northeast Special Infrastructure Development Scheme, Central Road Fund Economic Importance, Interstate Connectivity, Pradhan Mantri Gram Sadak Yojana will not only provide connectivity but ultimately improve the economy and living of the people and the state. We must appreciate the government's effort under urban development for various flagship programs in urban areas such as Atal Mission for Rejuvenation and Urban Transformation, which has completed 17 projects and the remaining 10 projects which are soon to be completed. Speaker Sir, the state government is giving all its effort to provide good health facilities to the people of the state. We are happy that the medical college at Kohima will be functional during 2023-24. Besides, many other health programs initiated by the government for its citizens deserve to be appreciated. I thank the government for listening to the voice of the people of Eastern Nagaland. I believe that the team constituted by the Ministry of Home Affairs, Government of India, to address to the demand of the people of Eastern Nagaland will definitely come into a harmonious and sustainable conclusion. I once again thank the state government for its commitment to facilitate the entire process so that the grievances of the people of Eastern Nagaland are addressed. With these few words, I conclude my motion of thanks on the speech of the Honorable Governor. Thank you.
In continuation of our item number 2, let us now hear from the Leader of the House for the concluding remarks.
Speaker Sir, I rise to participate in a motion of thanks to the Governor's address which was delivered in this August House on 21st March 2023. The motion was moved by the Honorable Member Sri Tompang Osgom and seconded by H. Togioto Aomi. I appreciate your participation in moving the motion. So as the leader of the 14th House of the Nagaland Legislative Assembly, I also take this opportunity to express the appreciation of this House and all the honorable members to the Honorable Governor Sri La Ganesan for the address, the first session of this new House. Our Governor is a seasoned leader and well-known personality who had made positive contribution to public life in various capacities stretching across decades. We are indeed fortunate to have a person of his caliber and experience to come as our governor, and we look forward to his guidance and advice in the coming months and years in the service of our people. Sir, in this, I want to extend my appreciation to those who have participated in the debate. There was an amendment moved by Sri Kusalizo, Nienu, and Sri Achumbemo Kikon, and their active participation were highly appreciated. And then other participants like Senior Member Mr. Kaito, and Kogim Elim Chen, Matanyan Tan, and Bashar Mamba Chang, and Dr. Sakato A. Sema. Those people who were to participate, but for various reasons, they had not been in the house, so you had cut short. But I thank them and appreciate for their concern and active participation, giving their view and positive suggestions to various departments, point out weaknesses or highlighting some departments. Also, giving a critical analysis and also advice on the policies and program for the better service to our people. Therefore, I take this opportunity to extend my appreciation and also gratefulness to them. And I must also extend my gratefulness to the citizens of the state and appreciation and the electorate for reposing faith in my government and giving a commendable victory to the People's Democratic Alliance, that is NDPP and BJP. The overwhelming mandate encouraged us to work with renewed vigor in our collective endeavor to serve the citizens of the state. I extend sincere gratitude to the Honorable Prime Minister, Sri Narendra Modi ji, Honorable Union Home Minister, Sri Amit Shah ji, and BJP party leaders, the President J.P. Nadar ji, and all rank and files, the central leaders who joined us in our election campaign and connected with the citizens of Nagaland. Our campaign was a movement that engaged with all sections of the people in a dignified manner, and we assured that we observe respectable decorum while at the same time create a positive connect between people belonging to all sections and also brought the mainland closer to our state. I express sincere appreciation to the Honorable Prime Minister, the Home Minister, Union Home Minister, and party President and rank and file for also attending the swearing-in ceremony and blessing us with their presence. It was a historic landmark and the first time that the Prime Minister of the country attended swearing-in ceremony to show the concern of the central government and the present dispensation in Delhi towards our state and its citizens. I place on record our appreciation to the Election Commission of India, the State Election Department, and all the government agencies of the state, including the administration police, for conducting peaceful and successful general election in Nagaland Legislative Assembly. Our government machinery has proved once again that it is efficient and capable of carrying out any given responsibilities. I also commend the civil societies, mass-based organizations, tribal halls, church organizations, NGOs and all other stakeholders for making positive contribution toward a successful election process. Most of all, we must compliment the electorate of Nagaland for delivering a high voting percentage. 86.72%. Once again, Nagaland has shown the world that we believe in democracy and our citizens continue to contribute towards the nation-building process by strengthening the foundation of democracy in the world's largest democratic country. Speaker Sir, I take this opportunity in extending my heartiest congratulations to my 59 colleagues who have won the mandate of the people and are now honorable members of the Nagaland Legislative Assembly. We have created history by electing 2 women, namely Mrs. Salutona Puse and Mrs. Ekadi. While congratulating them, I especially thank the electorate of their constituencies for writing history, not only for themselves, but for the Nagaland Legislative Assembly also, and in our state, getting a huge history as we had given in our manifesto, women empowerment and gender equality. They have proven, and they have proven they are equally capable as men. We are proud of them. In the system of democracy, parliamentary democracy, the process of election is considered as the highest court of democracy, as ensured in the Constitution of India. The universal adult franchise is a sacred right and responsibility of all adult citizens of India, and it is through this franchise that we enter the temple of democracy, which is in our case is the Nagaland Legislative Assembly. It is also significant to observe that we have 29 new members in the 14th House, as mentioned, and many members of the previous House could not be re-elected. We must understand that there is an underlying message in this verdict. The people want positive change and performance. Our duty is to deliver the goods to our citizens. We have taken the decisions to serve the public, and we must never undermine the mandate which the people have placed upon us. Let us always remember that our topmost priority is to ensure that the people always come first. I wish all members a successful tenure. I wish all members a successful tenure and look forward to your support in our collective endeavor to elevate the status of our state and our fellow citizens. Nagaland Legislative Assembly and its august floor has always been a symbol of decorum and discipline. The houses before us have built a renowned reputation and over the past few decades. This house has become a symbol of the highest standard of parliamentary practices. Many leaders and members who have stood on this floor have gone on to serve the state and the nation in exemplary manner, making significant contribution in their journey of the state and towards the process of nation building of this great country. So I am confident that the members of this present House will also follow these footsteps and make contributions that change the destiny of our people in a very positive manner. I will not be able to make all the comments of the honorable members who have participated, but I will only quote few and then we'll have plenty of time to go into details. On the amendment moved by the two members of NPF as mentioned, Azo and Achumbemo had participated and they had made a lot of comments which I should appreciate, and I take it positively because they are also had mentioned and advised many areas where needs improvement. Honorable MLA Sri also had stated that election has become based on money power. I think we should be cautious with what we utter. We should not undermine the mandate of the people. The electorate has spoken, and to say that money power was the determining factor is disrespect to our fellow citizens, including the very electors who voted for you also. Let us not undermine the wisdom and intelligence of the people. Rather, all of us, including the political parties, should self-retrospect and try to understand the dynamic of the electoral results. Let us not make blanket statement that paints our state and our citizens in a poor light. Let us respect each other, and if we are indeed saying that we are humbled by being re-elected, then we should respect the mandate of the masses. Yes, there will be a lot of loopholes and weaknesses, but that need to be taken up in a different platform. To say that only one party is champion of the Naga political issue is totally unreasonable, and from the reality of the given present situation, the Naga political issue and the Naga political movement is not a private property or domain of any party, organization, or individuals. In fact, every Naga citizen is a direct stakeholder in the Naga aspiration for genuine peace and honorable solution. Let us remember that every Naga family across all our inhabited areas have made sacrifices and contributions to the Naga movement over generations. It is because of the contribution of all sections of the people that our movement has reached thus far. Our history and culture have been recognized as unique, and political negotiations are ongoing at the highest level, claiming to be the sole champion, and the only party that stands for Naga issue is unacceptable and disrespect to all Nagas across generations. The contribution and sacrifices of past leaders and political parties are acknowledged and not denied and never to be denied. But to say that only one party has made contribution and it is the only champion is found unreasonable. Let us not make political rhetoric and play to galleries, but rather let us be practical, realistic, and honest and work collectively. We should send out the right message of oneness so that other sections also take our lead and forge unity. To say that only one party is the champion and the others will create mistrust, disunity, and one will be ridiculed by the public. Let us accept reality and let us not undermine wisdom of our fellow citizens. The mention made about the letter of support submitted to government to support my government have been asked for voicing whether we accept the letter of support. In our meeting over dinner, I had explained to you when we discussed in our joint parliamentary meeting of NDP and BJP, and I had told my honorable members, the alliance partners and my party, that as a leader of the legislators, it is my privilege that other parties and independents are giving support to the government unconditionally. I think in any case, I have to give to tell them and to say in any platform that I welcome their support. And as mentioned, these letters were submitted to the Honorable Governor, and also all these support letters were given to the Nagaland Legislative Assembly Secretariat for record. And I want that all of us are together so that in the interest of our people and the state for an early solution to Naga political issue and various other issues confronting the state, we require support, cooperations, and assistance of each and every member of all political parties, including independents. And therefore, I had also spoken to the BJP High Command and the central leaders, and they had agreed heartily. And therefore, I accept your support, and I'm sure that we coming together and all the political parties and independents supporting will help the state in reaching even higher level of development, progress, and for early solution of Naga political issue, which is what we aspire and look forward to it. Speaker Sir, I also appreciate for bringing out in details the achievement and development activities being taken by various departments and also mentioned about the budgets and fund allocated by the participants. I thank the honorable members for appreciating and remarks. As government, we need to be always transparent and share with them who in fact are the biggest stakeholder in whatever we do and keep bringing to their notice and knowledge so that they are fully aware of what government is doing and intends to take up in future. On the policies and programs, the vision plan for every sector, Speaker Sir, through you, I want to convey that for every department and sector we have planned for the coming years, which were made, which we make every attempt to follow and do things in the interest of the public and for inclusive development in that sector pertaining to the department concerned. The achievement highlighted in the address of various departments are in fact a part of that vision plan which could achieve in particular year. And the paper slate of various departments, the reports, you will find in detail what are the achievements. Speaker Sir, on illegal migrants, honorable members have spoken about the threat that our state faces from illegal immigrants. Sir, in the early tenure, we also have always been paying due attention to this problem, and we have always been taking steps in ensuring that our state, in no manner, face any problem in this matter. We moved to the online region for ILP, for online permit, extended ILP region in Dimapur, which has also remained outside the purview of ILP, and took various administrative measures in order to completely curb the possibility of issues of fake indigenous certificate also, and protecting the right of the indigenous of our state. And we are in a process of taking several administrative and structural measures for strengthening the procedure for identification, scrutiny, and issue of indigenous certificate. As we had discussed, and you are aware, that to issue the indigenous certificate, things are in the continuous process. The village council is the authority at the grassroots. Who is native and who is not native, and who should be the indigenous or who should not be, will be certified by the village authority, and this will be scrutinized by the administrative officer in that area, and recommendation forwarding to the Deputy Commissioner for issue of indigenous certificate. And that's how the responsibility lies with the public ourselves. This is the tradition, and that's how, from the purview of 73rd Amendment, rural local bodies, Nagaland was exempted, and our system, our tradition, our culture, and customary laws are intact. And that's how I want to make a mention about that. As I mentioned, I'll not be able to go into details, all the members, but I feel one point that the firing incidents on the 18th March 2023 at around 8 p.m., 10 hours at Nienu village resorted by some UG cadres belonging to Isaksumi factions at the premises of ceasefire monitoring cell of NSCN Congo. Factions. The cadre of Isaksumi, in combat camouflage, resorted to firing in spite of the intervention by the Telugu village council members. On receiving the information, OC, DPR police station, and party rushes to the place of the occurrence and immediately swung into action and diffused the tension from further escalation. Subsequently, the Isaksumi cadres fled away from the scene. In this condition, a case has been registered by the PS case number following, and Armed Act also under that, R/W 7/8 NSR. The matter was taken up with the Chairman Ceasefire Monitoring Supervisory Board, CFSB, who has officially communicated that Isaksumi faction is not a recognized faction, and that unauthorized armed movement of Isak group in and around Nagaland is prevented, and necessary action as per the law in connection with the firing incident are taken. Accordingly, the above criminal case is registered and other scrutiny measures are taken. Therefore, the honorable members of this August House should not take this sudden spurt of incident should not be constructed as breakdown of law and order situation in the state. The law and order situation in the state at present is quite normal and peaceful. Speaker sir, as raised by Honorable Member Mr. Achumbemo Kikon, the Foothill Road. This has been pursued for a very long time, and I had written several letters to Honorable Prime Minister and also met him on this issue, and also the Service Transport Minister. We have decided to take phase-wise because at one go they cannot sanction the money, and that's how phase-wise, first phase and second phase, all the DPRs are submitted and we are waiting for approval. And the length from Kelma to Tizit is about 320 kilometers. Since it is going phase-wise, the exact number of kilometers cannot be determined. There may be a few variations, but I think that will be taken care of. So many of you had touched upon and also appreciating the government activities and the achievements for which I am grateful to all of you. So Speaker Sir, before I conclude, I once again extend my deepest appreciation to all the members of this House for your participation in the proceedings. The deliberations have mostly been positive and fruitful and will go a long way in improving the delivery mechanism of the government departments. I have made responses only to some of your comments, suggestions and statements. And so all this we will look into, though I may not be able to personally reply each and every one. I assure you that honorable ministers and advisors who have all taken serious notes of the deliberation and also the government officials in attendance have taken note of the observations. I assure you that all constructive suggestions will be followed with sincerity. I once again extend appreciation of this August House to the Honorable Governor's address for your active debates, and in his the Governor address which he delivered on 21st March 2023. So I want to request the honorable members of NPF to withdraw the amendment so that we can move the proposal that the House adopt the motion of thanks to the Governor address unanimously. Thank you.
In view of the concluding statement and reply from the Honorable Chief Minister and Leader of the House, I would now like to give an opportunity to the honorable members of the NPF Legislative Party if they would want to withdraw the amendments.
Honorable Speaker, sir, I must thank our Honorable CM for giving us an elaborate reply to the queries that we have put up. With utmost concern, we have moved the amendment. However, some of the replies, of course, are not very satisfactory. But since he has assured us that all concern raised by us will be taken care of, we are satisfied with that. There are 2-3 observations that I would like to make. One is about that firing incident on the 18th of March, where we have not even seen a statement from the Deputy CM in charge of Home, even after the firing took place. That ought to have been taken care by the museum in charge of home, because it is about factional clash which should not have been undermined. I think in the near future, immediate attention from the minister in charge, from the government, is expected by the public, not only by my party. Well, I've come across in some of the statement that the convener of the NNBGs, Abju Hitovi Jimomi, that the Isaac faction of the NSCM will also be on board with the NNBG. Now, Honorable CM is telling us that since it is not a recognized group, how do we understand this aspect? From the NNBG side, they are saying that they are a part of the group. Whereas from the Government of India side, of course, that I understand. Government of Nagaland has no authority whatsoever to recognize this faction, that I fully understand. But I think it will be befitting if the government of the day take up this matter with the government of India, because this has to be ascertained. Otherwise, we can see a lot of mushrooming of factions. And how do we synchronize all this into one unified body? This is one concern which I have. I wish if this matter is taken up seriously. I'm happy that the Honorable CM has taken serious note of the foothill road construction. It's very quite satisfactory. I only wish to request the government and Honorable CM to expedite, because it's a long drawn dream of quite a lot of people who are living at the border, who faces a lot of border tension every now and then because of the disputed area belt that we cover. Quite a lot of stretch, a long stretch by the Nagas in Assam. But he has not addressed the issue which I have raised about the animal-human conflict. I think that is one important issue which I still would like to stress upon, because this is one very important issue, especially for my constituency, for the Pandari Assembly constituency, because the farmers are being affected. The wild elephants, they're about, the population says that about 400 plus are in Nagaland, out of which 200, more than 200 elephants are roaming freely in my area. And how do you expect the poor villagers to prevent the movement of elephant and do cultivation? This is a very big area of concern which I'm raising. I hope it's not only in my area, but the corridor of elephant is increasing day by day throughout Nagaland. And therefore, this is one strong area of concern that I still have about Naga political issue, since everyone has participated. But I wish if our Honorable CM can assure us that in the next assembly session, we reiterate our resolution about the integration of the Naga homeland. This is one concern which I also would like to still insist, since the assurance have been made about the issue raised by us being taken care of seriously. I beg to withdraw the amendment with an assurance, with believing the assurance given by Honorable CM on the floor of the House. Thank you, Speaker.
आप देख रहे हैं सुदर्शन न्यूज।